This I need to do a video of those security cameras. This is my third seeding out here of centipede grass. Today we're going to talk about 2 ways that you can almost guarantee success on your seedings, and it's a multiple tier seeding that I really strongly recommend. So whether you have warm season or cool season, but today of course we're doing warm season, so hold on. I'm doing the same thing that thousands and thousands of people are doing all across the United States and all across the world. They are looking for seed germination. That's what we're going to talk about today. On your hands and knees saying, why isn't my seed germinating? Or did it germinate? Or did it wash away? So in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to seed in 3 different types of situations. That's what we're going to do today. So I guess I can stop looking because this crap has not germinated. I'm disappointed. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. This hopefully will apply to you if you're going to do any type of seeding, because I'm going to break it down into 3 different basic levels. Number 1, if you're just going to go out and do an overseed, in other words, you have an established grass lawn and you're just going to go out and overseed. That's going to be the first case. The second case scenario is going to be where you're going to do some type of soil manipulation. And when I say soil manipulation, I mean scarifying or something where you're going to actually do a little bit of modification on your soil along with the seed. And then the third one is going to be a full bring in all this dirt and plant a brand new lawn. So first of all, make sure you get the lawn guides. I always say that at the beginning of every video because over 1 million people have used our lawn guides. Let me say it again. 1 million people have used them. We built websites for each lawn. So we have a zoysia, we have a Bermuda website, and we have a cool season website. Go to freelawncareguide.com. At the top, there's links to all of them so you can figure out where you need to go. So one of the rules that I'm going to cover up front is that dry seed does not germinate. So if you're going to plant seed, you either need to look at your 10-day forecast and plan on your seeding, putting out your seed according to the forecast, or you need to have an irrigation system, and you need to be prepared to run that irrigation system. One of the most important waterings, I think, is the nighttime watering, and I've covered this before. As your temperature starts to drop, what happens? You usually get a little bit of dew on your grass. And so what you do is as that temperature starts to drop right at nighttime, if you've got seed out, I want you to run your irrigation system. And why? Because that cooling temperature won't evaporate the water that you've put on it, and it'll stay wet for like 14, 16 hours. Next, a lot of seed, I should say almost a majority of seed, likes to germinate in the dark. So if you get that seed wet all night long, nighttime is the primary time that a lot of seeds germinate. The next thing, let's go ahead and let's talk about just broadcasting. We're broadcasting just in an area. I'm going to take you over in a minute, and I'm going to show you the pond berm. I'm taking suggestions from you guys as far as drop a comment down below what grass seed I should put over there, but I'm going to start with centipede, and then I'm going to put something else. We're just going to let it battle it out. The same thing we've done here. We've put down several different seeds here, and we're just letting them battle it out. Eventually, I'm going to reseed this probably in zoysia later this summer, but I'll take you over there and show you that. And that's what I want to talk about first. If you're just going out to an area that you're trying to seed, like I have an area back here, I'll show you here in a second. If you're just going to throw out seed on top of some dirt and weeds and that kind of stuff, you need to look at that 10-day forecast. And here's what I'm going to tell you is don't put all your eggs in one basket. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I like to buy, if I'm going to seed this area, I'm going to buy 1.5 times the seed I need. And what I'm going to do is when I see rain on my 10-day forecast, I'm going to put out about 1/3 of my seed. Then I'm going to wait. When I see rain coming again, I'm going to put out 1/3 of my seed. When I see rain coming again, I'm going to put out 1/3 of my seed. Why? Because I know there's a good chance that maybe one of those seedings is going to fail. And if the failing seeding is the one where I put out all my seed, that's not good. I've had that happen before. So my recommendation, if you're just going to go out and do an overseed on top of something, is do it in stages. Break it apart. Do a 1, 2, 3 seeding. If you're going to do an overseeding on an existing lawn, you have to cut it short, people. You've got to cut it short. Seeds only have so much energy. They have enough energy to germinate, put a little root, and start to grow up. Why are they growing up? They want sunlight. They use that sunlight to actually establish and to grow. So if you have longer grass and real short seed germination, it can't get sunlight, it's not going to happen. We experience that all the time up in the fields. I had my buckwheat seeding totally fail because the clover shaded it out. So you've got to keep cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and keep it low. Next, let's move on to the semi-modification. So let's go out and let's say you're going to go out and you have a lawn, you're going to cut it down short and you're going to scarify it and seed it. We did that down at the beach house in the backyard. And what I did was, the first thing I do is I cut it down short, I put out some seed, I run the scarifier. That scarifier will work that in pretty deep. You can get it down 3/4 of an inch. The next thing I do is I usually put out more seed and then I'll come by and maybe rake it in. That puts it, you know, 1/2 to 1/4 of an inch. Then I'll come by and put a little more seed and put it right up on top. That multi-tier level seeding works so well because what's going to happen? I guarantee you're going to have a thunderstorm come by and you're going to have some washout areas. But if you have that seed at multi-levels, there's a good chance that deeper seed will hold and will actually come up and germinate. So if you're going to do something like you're going to scarify, you have a lawn, but you want to reseed it, you want to scarify, dethatch, whatever you're doing, do it in different levels. One is deeper and the next one is not so deep and the one is up top. Finally, let's talk about a brand new lawn. Now down at the beach house, there really was no lawn, it was just weeds. So we basically scraped that whole lawn off. We brought in truckloads of dirt, this black sandy soil. We put it out, it was anywhere from 3 to 6 inches deep all over the whole lawn. And how did I see that? How did I have such good success? Same thing, 3 levels. I put out seed, I took my scarifier and I ran the scarifier and got that seed deep, 3/4 of an inch, which you're not supposed to do. The next level, I went out there and I actually put out seed and then I raked it. I dragged a rake. That seed was probably 1/4 to 1/2 an inch deep. The final layer of seed was just a light layer on top and I barely raked it. It was maybe 1/8 of a 1/4 of an inch. Again, you get a heavy rain, you get a thunderstorm, you go out there and you've seen it if you've seeded. You see this pile and you just see all this seed sitting in a pile, you're freaking out. So you grab a rake and you have to re-rake it. Well, there's a really good chance that some of that deeper seed is actually going to hold and is actually going to germinate. Now you can go back, and if you have weak areas that washed out or didn't get good seed germination, you can go back and fix those. But I'm going to tell you this. People say all the time that it takes 2 to 3 years to establish a zoysia lawn from seed. I want you to look at this lawn. This is within 1 year. We have the best lawn on the island down at the beach house. Even my irrigation guy, we had him come out a few months ago because we had that freeze down there and I wanted to test the irrigation system because I wasn't down there, and I run it by phone. And he told the wife was down there, he told the wife, he said, man, he said, at least last year, he said, you guys had the nicest lawn on this place, period. And it was absolutely gorgeous. So we did it all from seed, it was all from zoysia, and within 1 year we had a beautifully established lawn. We put in an irrigation system down there. Back here, we just finished putting in an irrigation system that runs off our shallow well pump. So now that I have irrigation and now that I have roots in the ground and I got temperatures that are warm, I can go ahead, probably in about 4 weeks, I'm going to seed in zoysia. Now let's talk about, I'm going to talk warm season grass for a minute. Warm season grasses are only planted really at one time of the year. When is that? That is late spring through the summer when you have 80 degrees, guys. You got to have that 80-degree mark, and that's air temperature, 80 degrees. You want constant 80s. That's why they call it a warm season grass. It's going to germinate. It loves the heat. That's what it wants. So you've got a big window. I'd say it's like 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, where you can go out. If you're going to do a new lawn from seed, you can go and do it. Cool season guys, you obviously know you're a little bit different. Cool season guys, you can go out like we did. We did a reseeding in the spring, and this stuff is absolutely gorgeous. So we've got a spring seeding here. This is all from seed. This is all from spring seeding, and it's gorgeous. However, most of the seeding for cool season lawns is done in the fall because you want those cooler temperatures. You want that slow growth. You want that root development. We got it. We do not seed warm season grasses in the fall. All right, so I've got a little bit of seed in here, and I've got it on the #1 setting because centipede seed, gosh, it's so fine. It's really fine. It's like Bermuda. So I'm just gonna come by and I'm just gonna do another light seeding all the way down the pond berm. So the temptation is going to be there to come out and just do really, really heavy seeding. I really want you guys to think about actually coming out and doing some lighter seeding rounds day after day after day. So instead of investing all that seed's expensive. As an example, for some reason, Zenith zoysia is really hard to get. And those little like two pound bags, dude, they're like $150 a pop. It's really scarce right now. There's certain types of zoysia I've actually looked online and it said is not available this year due to a crop failure on the seed. So just a little warning, seed can get expensive. Good Bermuda seed easily can be $25, $35 a pound. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to, now if you're going to be doing a tilling project, follow my multi-depth program. But other than that, come out here and do this multi-seeding. Remember, you got a huge window for warm season grass plantings, especially if you got irrigation. And right before, anytime you're supposed to have rain come in, put a light coat of seed out. After that rain, wait for the next rain event, put a light coat of seed. That should do much better for you. I got a long driveway and I have like 1/4 mile of road frontage out here, and it's really dangerous because it's on a curve and you got rednecks coming through here like 55 to 65 miles an hour. So I don't cut this and I don't let John cut this. There's a local guy, and I actually came out and put down a little bit of PGF complete on the front. And I'm trying to see if there's any germination. I don't know. We'll see. So this is my danger street guy. He's the one that has to put up with the rednecks going 70 miles an hour around the corner. So what did you do today?
Today we took down 2 sweet gums in the morning at 7. Took off, we did a cleanup like this with the Mini X, clean all that up, took off, and then we climbed, or I climbed like a 80-foot pine. I had to rig it down, and now we're wrapping up the lawns for the week.
And what'd you do with zoysia?
So that was Tuesday. We laid out 3 pallets of Xeon zoysia. Took out 8 trees there. That was tough. This week's been hectic.
This is what working men do. I was telling him 7 days a week. There we go. 7 days a week, man. It's like 12, 14 hours a day. But he's the one that actually comes out here. And he was saying, yeah, I noticed that it's greening up. And I told him I put down some PGF complete out here. And I got Bermuda seed that should be germinating within the next couple days. I'm starting to see a few sprigs come up now that we've had that 2 or 3 days of rain.
Yeah, it's been raining.
I mean, because we were dry for like 10 days. I mean, it was dust out here. It was totally dust. So anyways, I'm going to have to get him to do some other work back there too. You'll see there's plenty of work to be done back there. I'm going to see if I can find some while you cut.
Okay.
All right, brother. See ya. So he's got the danger job out here. But I'm starting to see, as I look around, when I start to see like in these little washout zones out here, I'm starting to see Bermuda actually start to sprig up. And that Bermuda will actually come in here and will actually take over this whole section. This is like the only roadway that actually looks halfway decent around here. I'm about to get crapped on. All right, so let me summarize all my seeding projects I've got going on. It's funny. The wife was like throwing these bags across the table. I got 2 of them. I said, you know, those are $169 a piece. And she was like, well, don't lose them. I've got 1 bag for back here and I got 1 bag for the beach house. This stuff is unavailable basically as of now. So cool season, several different types of seed. We're going to eventually put this into zoysia once the heat comes in and this starts to struggle. Got that? On the back out here, beyond the fence, I've got mostly several different types of fescue out there. So we're going to keep this mainly in fescue. If I can find some centipede seed that's fairly cheap, maybe I'll throw some centipede out there and let it battle it out too. Because this is going to dry out and get hot. And that's a huge area back in there. Next, I got the pond berm. the pond berm. We're gonna start it in centipede, maybe throw out whatever you guys recommend in the comments down below. I got the road front out front. We're gonna do that in Bermuda. In front of the pond, let me show you that. So I think I'm gonna get ready to let Ryan manage the farm property for a couple of weeks, and then I'm gonna go to the beach for a while and take a break. But when we come back, this whole area in front of the pond, I wanna bring in some topsoil, bring in a skid steer. I don't want to flatten it. I just want to sort of level it out, and then I want to plant something in here. And if I need to, I already talked to my irrigation guy. I can tap into, because that's where my other irrigation goes into. I can tap into that if I want to put a couple heads. I can put a couple heads here and water this if I wanted to. So we got that whole back pond berm. I've got all this. Then when we close on the other house, we're going to head down to the beach. And I got to work on that zoysia lawn down there. So I've got a bag of zoysia seed for down there, because I've got a feeling, I don't know if it's bugs, fungus, grubs, or whatever, but when I pull it up on my cameras and I look at it, I just got some really weak spots out there. And I think it's going to be better off if I just actually try and reseed it. So anyways, guys, if you think you're having struggles with seeding, welcome to my life. I'm like the seed king this year. I'm gonna go try and catch a fish, and hope you enjoyed it. Dot.